We obviously have a process where advisor firms deliver a core service, and often what happens is they forget about the extra stuff that happens around their business. So things like the people in their business, their processes. The value in giving advice is a major one, but it has to be supported by a number of other areas that are fundamental to the success of that practice. So it's very difficult because financial advisors generally don't think like business owners, but when they do start to think like business owners as opposed to just financial advisors, they can start to see the other value added elements of what they do for clients because they're approaching it as business rather than just providing financial advice. And the response that I had after the session was a bit overwhelming, but I think it's evidence that, you know, we're all trying to move to not just a professional marketplace, but actually one that thinks a lot more like a business, that sees clients as clients and not clients in the advisory sense. So we're all moving to being just better businesses. You know, you can never understand what it's like to be a client if you've never actually been a client in the truest sense. So advisors all over the world are trying to shape a client journey, you know, come together to put together that client experience, but they're only seeing it from one side, their own side. When I went through the financial services journey myself, it's a totally different experience because even, you know, when I was sent paperwork from my advisor, it didn't actually make any sense to me. It was in packs with lots of sticky tabs on it. But actually, if you received that as an advisor and looked at it, you would say, well, there's no way we can send it out like that. It's a very different experience. So, yeah, I mean, it's bad because in the sense that it's good that they have the planning in place, but it's like a doctor prescribing their own medicine. They need to be treated like the patient, and most importantly, they need to be asked those very soul deep, you know, pressing questions about their life and how they want to live their life and what they want their life to be like, but they can't ask themselves those questions. They need to be asked. So they miss out on that experience if they don't go through the process themselves. I hear horror stories all of the time. Advisors who have had friends who they didn't want to talk about advice to them, then they've had cancer or they've died, and it's just, I mean, it's, you know, there's the advisory role is such a responsibility, and I know it can be difficult to, you know, to approach these discussions as advisors with friends and family, but you have to make them talk about it. You know, you have to look after your inner circle first. The problem with that is that when most advisors are starting out in business, they're told to sell everything to the people they know. So actually, when it becomes really a thing that they really should do, it's almost tarnished with a bad reputation that you're just selling stuff to the people that are closest to you, and when you run out of those people, then where do you go? So they're the inner circle. They're the people that you need to protect the most, absolutely the most, even if you refer them to another advisor. How long have you got? Yeah, the top one is that they don't approach their businesses like a business. They think with a financial advisor hat on and a financial advisor head on, so they make decisions very emotionally about their business, but it's decisions as a financial advisor, not as a business, a commercial, savvy business owner. That's mistake number one. They surround themselves with people in their firms that are very much like them. That's major problem. Most advisors are quite creative, like to think on their feet in the main, have very little ability to follow through on anything, lots of ideas, but they need people surrounding them that are very different to them, very different, that are very complementary. And I suppose advisors generally tend to lower their standards because they get very frustrated that the people around them are not following and meeting those same standards. So they get frustrated and, you know, quite stressed about it. I would always encourage firms to actually start documenting, writing down, cataloguing what their standards are, the rules of how we do it here, the procedures, so that what happens is that these standards, people can decide whether they want to meet them or not, and it's the way of doing it in this firm rather than his way or her way. it's consistent. So, you know, we need to just get some structure in these businesses which really just tackle most of the problems that they're facing.